everyone. Thanks for tuning in again. It's European Stories from a Union of Volunteers. Today it's with me, Paula, and the guest from today's episode, he comes from North Macedonia and is volunteering now in Bremen in Germany. So thank you, Alexander Anastasovsky, for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So how are you? How's the situation in Bremen now? What are you doing? Or how's the weather?
Yeah, I'm doing good. The weather is getting better these days. It was winter like 3 days ago. Now it's like spring, summer, but I think normal weather for like North Germany. Yeah, we're doing good. Like there's a lot of restrictions, but we're cautious and yeah, it's nice. It could be better, but I'm not complaining too much.
Yeah, that's great. That's a great attitude, I think. So, you're from North Macedonia and decided to go to Germany to volunteer. So, how did you come across the ESC at the first place?
Yeah, that's interesting story always. So the thing is, when I was in high school, I would participate in these Erasmus Plus youth exchanges that are lasting like 10 days. So I was here in Bremen like 3 times before my this project. So I got to see the place and like see the organization, and they would always like mention it, like the European Solidarity Corps program. So for me, I was like, that's how I found out that this exists. And then I was like, looking out for opportunities on their the website, Facebook page. And that's how I discovered like this project.
So you got involved with the EU mobility programs already quite like early in when you were still in school. That's cool.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to have some like older friends that already, had some experience. So yeah, I started in high school to go to like some Erasmus projects. And then I was like, when I, finish high school, this is what I want to do first.
That sounds great. So, when did you exactly start your project in Bremen?
So I started this January 2021. I was supposed to start October 2020, but I couldn't get the visa on time, and then the project got postponed. So instead of being like, 12 months, it's gonna be a bit shorter, January till like end of September. But I'm still lucky to be here.
And how did you choose your project? You mentioned you were already 3 times in Bremen before, but were there also other projects you thought of doing it?
Yeah, for sure. Because, when I was here before, it was some topics that are like, okay, cooking or some about cultures. But this, what I'm doing, it's like basically managing social media. And for me, I found it really, really interesting because I have experience already with that. Before coming here, I worked part-time in an organization as a social media manager, and I really like it, like being the communication team and doing all of that behind the scenes. So when I saw it, like this is what we're looking for, volunteer in social media field, I was like, I want it. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it right now.
So, in January, when it was still cold, I think in both countries, you arrived in Germany. And what was your first impression when you arrived in Bremen?
Well, I remember being very tired, and it's like even though I've been here before, I was so overwhelmed like with everything. I even remember in the train, I didn't know that I'm supposed to click the button so the door opens, and I was the first one waiting, so I didn't miss the station, and people were waiting behind me, and they didn't say anything. Like they didn't tell me, like they weren't mad at me for stopping them. And that was my first like impression. I was like, these people are so nice. I think like nobody would, like, even if you don't speak German, I think they would be nice to you. So that was my first impression. I was like, I'm so happy to be here. Like,
And you mentioned like the German language, which is quite tough, I think, for foreigners to learn. But do you know, or do you already picked up some German now, like for the 4 months you've been living here?
yeah. So I did. At the beginning, I was more motivated. Then I kind of lost motivation. I think it's not just because like German is a tough language. It's like this Corona situation. Really, you need to find motivation to do things. Otherwise, you're just like stuck. And I did pick up some words and some, so I can survive, but it's far from good, and I hope it gets better soon. But yeah, I've had a hard time with the language for sure.
Yeah, sure. So, how is your accommodation? I guess you're not the only volunteer, and do you have any other volunteers you live with?
Yeah, so I'm living with four other volunteers, so it's like five of us in this like apartment. So everyone, of course, has their own room. And I'm really surprised by it. I think it's very good. Like it's very well equipped. I like the like everything about it. Um, I would say it's not that close to the center, but again, I don't complain because it's like 20 minutes with a tram, and I think that's pretty good actually because I also come from like a capital in my country, and with traffic it can be like 40 minutes. So this is great. Like I really like the accommodation.
So, what is your work actually about? What do you do in your daily life as a volunteer?
Yeah, so it's home office mostly. I think if it wasn't for Corona, I would go to the office more, but also I would be part of many residential projects. And now that, because of Corona, everything is online, I'm at home mostly, and usually it's like either meetings on Zoom or I'm on some online youth exchanges or online training courses, and just after finishing that, I prepare posts for social media, like what did we do on that project. So it's still pretty fun. It's like, showing the world, let's say, what we did on this exchange. So that's pretty much it. But I also like try to work with other volunteers and like in their houses, so do home office somewhere else, or I haven't done it like lately because of the weather, but also go in the balcony, or I would even go somewhere with, if there's Wi-Fi and if it's outside, it would be great.
And I know that the organization you're working for in Bremen is organizing a lot of youth exchanges. Actually, we also for our listeners to know, we met during a youth exchange, so we knew each other before. So maybe could you explain a bit what exactly is a youth exchange? Because I can imagine, since we are in this podcast, we are talking a lot of the European Solidarity Corps, and like it doesn't include youth exchanges, but Erasmus Plus does include the youth exchanges. So what is it about? How can one participate?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, like I know this Erasmus European Solidarity Corps because of the youth exchanges, and it's the second best thing I would say, because it's like you can find these projects either like on Salto Youth. I don't know if you mentioned that before. It's a website with a lot of opportunities for young people, but also like if you follow some organizations from your city or country, you will see they always have open calls. And basically, Youth Exchange is like 10 days more or less projects where like people from all around Europe, really, it's like always, I don't know, five participating countries with teams of 5 6 people. They go to this one venue, and the topics are different. It can be anything, like for example, when I was here in Bremen, the youth exchange was like called Active Change Makers, and it was about citizenship and being the change. So, but you can go to that or something connected to art, like me and you, on the exchange, like it can be anything. If you want European topics, you can go on that. If you like, I don't know, sports, you can join a exchange about that. So I think there's a lot of opportunities, and I hope like young people realize that and start like looking online and just like write youth exchange. And yeah, it's great.
Sounds great. So it's also definitely an opportunity to check it out. Also because it's not 1 year or half a year; it's 10 days, and so you can get very well into it if you're unsure whether it's the right thing for you or not. And so you have been part of a lot of international things already, and now you're working as a volunteer. So what do you like the most about working in this intercultural atmosphere?
Well, I guess it's like for me, it's always about leaving the comfort zone, because at home, I come from a pretty small country, and if I wasn't doing this kind of things, I don't think I would have even thought or look at the world the same way. It's very like eye-opening, and that's what I like. You always learn something. As much as it sounds cliche, like if you start going on these projects or you go to the this program, I think like you meet people you will probably never meet otherwise. So it's like people from all different walks of life, and the things you learn, it's crazy, like and that's like learning by doing, basically. I don't think there's a better way to learn something. So I think that would be the main thing.
And I'm sure there have been also some challenges for you, or they will also come. So, what were those challenges and what did you learn from it?
Yeah, I think we all face like on a daily basis some challenges like it's either minor or something big. For me, it's the first time I'm away from home like for more than 2 weeks, you know. So I'm I'm 20 now. I keep saying I'm 19. I just turned 20 like last week.
Ooh, happy
So I
birthday!
thank you. Yeah, I'm finally 20. So but still I started, you know, this project when I was 19, and everything like even having this birthday, it's the first time I'm away for my birthday. So I think the challenge is that basically like okay, keeping your head straight and being like okay, I'm away from my family, and the problems they face, of course, like it affects me, but at the same time I'm not there, it's not much I can do. So I think that was for me the biggest challenge, like whatever they're going through, I'm like thinking about it and worrying. But it's also you learn that it's a normal thing for, like a lot of people, you know, travel the world, and you know it bad things can happen, but you know you should, the outlook should be positive, and I have a pretty positive outlook about everything. So but yeah, that's the biggest
Of
challenge.
course. And since I'm from Germany, it would, or it's for me very interesting what people who are not from Germany think of Germany. So, what is your, or what do you see as a very big difference between your home country and Germany?
Wow, huge differences like in every aspect. I mean, of course, a lot of similarities, but I would say the people, yeah, like so much nicer in general, like polite. I don't mean necessarily like that they're so warm that they will invite you to their house, be guests. No, but so polite, like in the public transportation, you know, in the supermarket, like so many nice people. That would be one thing, but also in general about Germany, it's like so much more clean, and it makes you want to be environmentally friendly, you know? I think it's like the mentality, yeah, the mentality of the people. It's like it shapes you in a different way. You don't want to do like the things you did in your country because, you know, here it's like so much better about the waste selection and everything. So I think it's, yeah, that like the huge differences in just the mentality and how German people do pretty much everything differently and like so much more organized.
Yeah. Can be also sometimes a disadvantage, but it's very interesting to hear that. Let's imagine you're at dinner with some friend of yours, and everyone is telling a funny story. Probably that's also how the dinners are going around in your volunteers' apartment. But everyone, or they are interested in your volunteering project, and they want to hear a crazy story. So, which story from your project? So, how far, like from those 4 months, would you tell to them?
Okay. Well, there's a lot of, you know, different levels of crazy I would tell to my friends, but uh let's say, okay, for example, the latest one, the curfew started here, right? It's like for the first time we have to be home back by I don't know 10 or 12, however it is. So it was hurrying up to go to this like small gathering we always have, the volunteers, and it was like with bikes, and I hardly ever bike. That's also very different from back at home. So biking and like you see police and you're like yes, I'm going home, you know. I would never do that ever, but here it's like you have to because you don't want to stay home alone, so you just I mean home alone, you don't want to stay outside of, you know, stuck somewhere. So it was crazy because we had to hurry up, and I think it because it was day one of the curfew, they were more like okay, like tomorrow we're not letting this pass. So we went there, but it's just like I don't speak German, so I don't even knew the exact rules. Like I didn't know you. It's until 5 a.m. I thought it's like I don't know what I thought. So basically, I had to like sleep over in this like how do they call them? Parcel houses? I don't know. It's like summer houses you guys have. You don't live in them, but it's like just one room, and we had to stay there. You know, this friends, a friend of a friend, basically. So I had to sleep on the floor. It wasn't the best thing ever, but you know, we were warm, we were safe. As soon as the curfew, you know, was ended, I was like, okay, I'm not breaking the law now. I'm going home. So I would say that. But of course, there are a lot of like craziness with the German and not speaking German. And yeah, it's a struggle, but I think we should get more informed about these rules so we don't get in trouble.
Yeah, sure. And I'm sure there are also more challenges, also not related to the curfew or anything, yet to come. Yeah, since this episode comes slowly to an end, let's do some check-out question. How far would you describe your volunteering project in one word?
Okay. um, Let me think. Okay, maybe impactful. That's a word, right? Yeah, impactful. Because, I think on everything, yeah, on everything it has like a big impact. Whatever you do, it's like, wow, I'm always like, aha moment. Like, this is what I learned from it. This is what I. So I think impactful would be the word.
And what is one thing that you think or expect to experience in the following month as a volunteer?
Well, I would say that at this point I need to pick it up and start learning more intensively German. So, because I think it's a necessity and it would be a shame to be like, oh, 6 months, 7 months in, and I don't know much. So I would expect that, honestly, to get a bit better at that and feel even more comfortable because at this point like I feel like at home because it's been what 4 months, so I feel like at home, but I think I expect that I would feel even more connected to like locations and the house, and you buy things and you decorate your room. It's like you almost feel like you will not leave, but so I expect to get even more connected to like everything here.
That sounds great. And do you know, or do you have already a plan what you would like to do when, since you once you finish your project?
Well, I would like to, of course, go back home and continue with my degree because I started like a semester in college, but I don't know, it's still a lot left till my end of the project, so I don't know. I have, that option, but maybe I want to continue with youth work somewhere. I don't know if it's possible, to stay in Germany but I think I need to explore those options more, but definitely stick with this like youth work and youth field because what I started to study is how basically international relations, and I think it's very connected to like Erasmus and organizations. So I would say after this project, if I can like keep working in that direction, I think I would be very happy.
And now comes a very big question. What does solidarity mean to you?
I think we all have the idea, but we say it different. But at the same time, like I don't know. I think people have different even approaches to act in solidarity. For me, it's like usually, getting together and taking action to help, to support someone and or some cause, and show the support to the community. Let's say for me it's that, helping the community and not expecting anything in return, because that's one of the greatest things you can do, to show support, let's say, to the community, and the things you get back aren't necessarily, I don't know, financial or how do you call materialistic, right? But it's even better than that. So for me, I would say it's that.
And as usual, our last question, what song represents your volunteering service?
Okay. Now I lost it. I had it written down. It's this Romanian song. I feel like it's not just like about like the volunteering or my project. I think it's like the whole Europe, and of course this program is like for young Europeans. I think when this song comes in a party or like I don't know, you listen to it on headphones, it's like it makes you like united, and it's this Romanian song. What is the name? Okay, give me a second because I really like singing, but I wasn't born with a good voice, so I wouldn't sing it. But let's say how is the name? I have it in my liked videos. Aha, okay. Do you know it? Dragostea din Tei
Ah,
from
yes. Yeah, yeah, sure.
yeah, I would even play it after this because I don't know. I think it makes me feel good, and I think I will remember this project and volunteering in general because I just imagine volunteers in a cleanup action listening to this or doing something. So yeah, I would choose this song.
Ah, cool. Yeah, and I'm wondering why everyone knows it because I don't know, was it popular or something? And I don't know, even don't know what it means. So well,
It's like all of a sudden everyone speaks Romanian when this song comes and like they sing. I don't know. It's something. I think it's an old song, but I think this generation also caught it. So it's like
yeah, yeah, sure.
this song, the party song.
All right. So thanks a lot, Alex, for participating. And concerning our listeners, don't forget to listen to Alex's favorite song from Romanian. Maybe you also know it. And you can also comment on Apple Podcasts how you like the song, how you like this episode. And don't forget to leave us a rating. Next week, it will be again with Jose from Portugal. But for now, thanks, Alex, again.
Thank you so much, Paula, for like inviting me. It was a nice reflection, really, and yeah, I really enjoyed this interview.
All right, so I wish you a nice day, and thanks, dear listeners, for listening to this episode. Bye bye.